Okay, Roger, Mudfossil University, going to move like a rocket ship through space. This is Comet 67P, this circular area here, and these little pinchy bundles are tendon fibrils, just like these, only snapped off. These aren't. These are the tendon fibrils. You will see them momentarily in a living body, which may be a little gruesome, so it's up to you to watch or not. This is the ball, which is called the enthesis, which implants this, and these tendons go out to attach to muscle, which is broken off, and the muscle pulls legs and arms and so forth in. And this is in space. It's gigantic. I cannot account for that. It is what it is. That is a bundle of tendon, and these are complete tendon fibrils. Let's go look at that in actual biology. Alright, so here we can see this is where the blood is coming out from the tendon. Now, something I want you to understand. When these things dry out in the mud fossils, they crystallize. When they crystallize, they turn into squares. They actually turn into squares, rectangles, whatever you want to call it. But they push out this way flat, and they push down this way flat, and you get squares. And wait till you see how big they become. Now, don't forget, this is from that bundle, and we can see where they bled out of those pinchy little bundles.
Its extremities bled with an apparently circular longitudinal and peripheral vascularization, in contradiction with the avascular theory that held sway at that time, but that there seemed to be a real continuity between the sheaths and the tendons, which was not interrupted despite the distension occurring during sliding.
What it is, okay, and there's the interstitium. That's what Gil and I were working on. They're fluid-filled bags that, when some mud fossils deteriorate, the bags of fluids go away. And it all depends on the kind of a condition it was in. I had one Egyptian mummy head that was a real head, and it was just completely saturated with holes like this. It looked like, it really just didn't look real. But when I looked at it closely, it was real, no question about it. And this is what happens. There's some invasive chemistry. Now, we saw these tendons. Now, let's go back and look at 67P again. Now, that's the bundle. Those are those little pinchy things. That's where the blood comes out. These are those tendon straps. This is where the muscle would have gone. This is blood. And I have the spectral analysis of, they sent a lander up on here. The European Space Agency, Rosetta mission, sent a lander up. It was called a Philae lander. It landed on here, and it tested the gases and a couple of molecules, samples. And they turned out to be identical to us. And I have the spectral analysis of it, and they know, and they said it's all organic, they just don't know what to do. This is actually the enthesis point that anchors that tendon in. That's where it would have held onto a leg or something. Okay, my friends, I believe this is very similar to 67P. That's the circular part, that's the stalk area, and that was a strap that ran over. And guess what? I also believe this is from space. All right, we'll take a look at it, and I'll show you why. And you see these real red areas? Like that red area over here? That's blood. This blood coming out of this can very, very, very easily be tested. And it will have exactly the same chemistry as 67P. I can virtually guarantee it. Now, this strap runs up over the top. Now, here's the item right here. Now, it runs up over the top. You see it? Goes up over there, and then it runs out. And it gets fibery and runs out this way. That's the tendon strap. That's the fibers of the tendon strap. Now, this is this gigantic fingertip. And that's what it is. And it came through space, and that's why it's all blistered off. Now, I'm going to show the blistered off stuff. You already saw the blood stuff. I can show you that up really close. But the blistered off stuff, you see where it's black here and there? Let me get this out of the way. You see how it's black here and there? Well, that's just black where it sort of roasted up. But you see how there's all these cavities in there? That's where blood and everything was. See all the blood and gore everywhere? Blood. Now down here is all the roasted part. You see it, like it came through space, like this part came first and burnt this up a little bit. Not really burnt it, just roasted it. And then because it roasted, this blood that was in this spot here, in this whole area, had to have been wet to explode like that. There's no other reason it would explode like this. And I'm going to show you this a little closer in a minute, because I have one from Earth that never went through space. Now, let's look at the fabric that's on the surface of this here and relate it to this one, which came through space, didn't come through space. This is terrestrial. You see? And it has the same blood spots coming out, only they just leaked out and hardened up into blood. And we'll look at that. Well, I think I probably showed this before a zillion times. Well, I know I did. But anyway, that one there is roasted. This one here is never roasted. All right, let's take a look at them both. This is the one that came through space, and that's my claim. This is way deep down inside. These are blood vessels, and that's where I take the blood when I have things done for DNA. And I did. I had 3 samples tested, not of the meteorites. I don't have, and I'm done testing. I've paid my price, and it's all over for me. Now, this is the surface, and you see around here, it's not all blistered off, but as you get away from the blood, and you get into the blistering, see? And the reason is the blood protects it. Blood is a preservative. You wouldn't believe it. Blood is the best preservative there is. It's absolutely incredible. And it's way down in here, and it gushed around, and wherever the blood runs out and it stops, you get into the black, see? Where it starts to blister off because there's no blood was there, like, protecting it. All right, now let's see if I can find a real fabric-y area. Hold on. Okay, this is still space finger roasted, but not the roasted area. Now, we come away from that not roasted area, but you can see that is the same as the skin tissue and all of the other stuff that I show. You see it? You see the little blood vessels here and there, the little red ones? There's blood still in here. And then you start to get into the black area where it starts to get blistered off. And then here's, look at this spot. I noticed this the other day. If you can't get blood out of there, you can't get blood out of anything. That right there is an arterial spot. And there'll be blood in there. But this is all, you know, like, I think this is like a toe. But you see here on the side? That is the fabric of life. That's the fabric of life. And there's black blanched off spots, and then there's this. Now that's the center of this. If I back this up, I can see where there's a core there of some sort. And that's the center where the blood goes. Remember we had blood coming out of the centers? Hold on, just stay with me. There it is. Now, you have to home in on things the right way. What are we looking at? You see that curve there? What's this and what's that? Let me back way up. Stay with me. Alright, I believe that is this whole thing is like a gigantic something. I don't know what they are. But these are body parts, and that is biology, and that right there is blood. This stuff can be tested, and I have other ones that are saturated with blood, like this little iron one. Watch this. Now, I have this one from space, and it blew out the blood off the side, exploded because it was wet. All right, this is the one from space. There's a spot right over here where the vein was, and over here where the vein is. They don't blow out because there's what they call vein valves that won't let it go out. The artery is different. The artery is open and explodes, and it blew right out, exploded right out. This is the one I showed you. This is blanched from space. This one is a terrestrial one that is exactly identical. You saw the two spots here. All right. You see the little hook at the tip here. See the hooks? All right. You saw the vein here and the vein here on this little one, and it's got it here. These are harder to see, but there's a vein here and a vein here on the bigger one. This one exploded its blood. This one just leaked it out because it didn't come through space to boil, and it just hardened up. Now let's look at this one in the microscope. Hold on. Let me get focused in here. This one here has the fabric of life, just like they all do. There's nothing special about any of it. They call this feldspar. It's not feldspar. It's nothing to do with, well, they call it anything they want. I don't care what they call it. But this is the fabric of life. You see it? It's the same fabric. Identical same fabric on all of them. Every single one of them. They all have the same fabric. This is another bone. This is a bone head. Head of a bone. It's got the same sort of fabric. See all the holes in the... I don't want to take it out of focus and all that. But this is the same stuff. You see all the holes in the blood and all that? Same thing. Now, this one here has the blood coming out of the side. You see here? This is where I said the blood just leaked out on this one and congealed. On the other one, it literally exploded. Now, that's one of these. Now, if I move it down, there's the other one is down here. And this right here, this one just leaked out too. Now, on the other one, where these are, it exploded. Let's look at that one. I got it here somewhere. Here it is. A totally different situation. The same blood, only one was wet and one just exploded when it came out. You see that? That was wet. That was wet, and it exploded out of there. Totally exploded. See that? Look at that. Now, that could be tested. And I can guarantee you this came through space. And any meteorite guy, and I tried to contact the guy that's talking about the meteorites and how they just found one pristine molecules or something in there. This one here's got blood, and it literally has blood. And I was looking at this the other day, and I could find all kinds of biology in this thing. All kinds of biology. There was a structure in here that was just absolutely stunning. I'll have to find it again, but I mean, look at that. You know, anybody who knows the mud fossils understands this. There's nothing here that's special, except it came through space. And oh, there it is. That's the part right there. Look at that. Look at that. That is as biological as it gets. Now let's look at it carefully. Found it. Now, what are we looking at, boys and girls? Ooh, ooh, ooh. We are looking at tendon bundles. Remember they squirted out the blood from the center, and it had that little bundle that was in the Comet 67P? That's it. That's where the blood squirted out. This is all blood around here. This is the one that came through space. They're everywhere. I cannot account for this. I'm going to show you another one, my iron meteorite. This one right here. Because the iron ones have the same thing. They come through when they're small enough, like this one. it doesn't explode and burn up completely. So you get a lot of organics in here. Where do you see this? And this one is absolutely 100%. Let me take this out of here. You saw enough of the meteorite from space, which has saturated with blood, says Roger. Now, what are we looking at here? Yes, it is the iron meteorite. Right here. Whoops. Let me come down here. Well, you got to stay up there. Yes. Never mind. Let me put the light back up here. I know. A little confusing. A little confusing. That's what research is all about. Here it is. Bada boom. Yep. Iron meteorite. Okay. You see that? That came through space. The only way for you to take a lung like this, and this was a lung, and it's loaded with blood. We know how they are filled with blood. Lungs. Blood is ferrous oxides primarily. It's FeO2, FeO3. It smelts off. And what does that mean? It means all of the organic molecules get burnt off, and at a certain temperature they're gone. And you're left with iron, which is the heavier, dense stuff. And it is this magnetic form of iron. Now, iron also comes, there's two types of iron. There's hematite and there's magnetite. When it comes through space, it smelts enough to become enough iron so that it can do that. Otherwise you got to get almost all the organics out of here, and you're going to see there's all kinds of organics left in here in order to make it stick like that to a magnet. Now watch this. I'm going to put this down here in the microscope. Here's the little lung. Now you know what blood looks like. We've been looking at blood all over the place. All right, here we go. I got to get down close to this. All right, we're going to come out here. Let's find the big hole. Here we go. Now, there it is. That's iron. The black stuff is iron. That's blood. This is all blood. And that was the blood that was inside the lung. All right, now you see how it's so dark here? That is where there's a flap at the bottom of the lung that wraps over, and it's really darkly saturated with red blood. That's why you can see the red blood there. Let me back this up a little bit so I can see a little more of it at the same time. There we go. Now, but the black is the iron, and that's why it's stuck. And the red is the blood. I mean, it's just, there's no question. You have to be absolutely, I can't imagine anybody can miss this. And it can be tested. I absolutely 100% guarantee you this can be tested. I put a little water on there, and you'll see the red blood will come right out of there. Let me put a little water on there. Never mind. It is, trust me, it'll do that. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how I can get anybody to pay attention to this. This stuff is in space. This Comet 67P is what it is. It's a biological tendon antithesis. Let me show you what Achilles tendon looks like. It is just basically the same thing. Okay, basically 67P is this, and one of these little bundles broke, and then the other one came up and broke up here somewhere. One broke right down at the base, and that's just what it is. That's an Achilles tendon. Now, it was something like that. I can't say there's Achilles tendon, but you see all these little things here? They're all fed with blood. And guess what happens to blood? It boils off when you cook it. And how does it get cooked? In the sun. Let's see. You see that? Those gases, I think I'll show you the spectral, but I'll show it again just to be certain. You see how heavy that is? That's an artery, a gigantic heavy-duty artery. These are little blood vessels that service the muscles. Each one of them has a little tube down in there, and they can look down in there, and they can see the little blood balls, and they call them dragon balls. That's what's burning out of here from the sun hitting it. It's only when the sun hits it, and they go in the angle that they are feeding their blood vessel. It's just cooking off. And this is like the Achilles tendon bundle. And as I showed you before, one of the stalks was broken and the other one fed up higher. All right, this is the spectral on 67P, which means It's made out of iron, iron. They're all different little variations of iron. CHs, which is hydrocarbons, which is methanes, which is blood, literally. CH is all over the place. Irons, silicon, sodium, carbon, hydrogen. This is life. And they took the molecules, they tested them, they know it's organic, and they just had to walk away because they didn't know what to say. They figured, well, let's go see if anybody else has the same stuff. So they sent it up. This was Comet 67P. This was 2014, 2015. Followed it from day one up till today, and they just said, oh, I think a day or two ago, that the surface, they revisited it, and they found that it was nothing like they thought, that the surface was frothy like cappuccino. And I can understand that, because there is no extreme attractive pulling, and I showed you that other thing was wet and gooey. When it came through space, it exploded because it was wet. The things in space are what I showed you was the taphany. I think I showed you the taphany. I'll show it again real quickly. All right, let's look at it again. Don't forget, there it is bleeding, one of those little
with an apparently circular longitudinal
bundles.
and peripheral vascularization.
And here's the other ones that
in
we're
contradiction with the avascular theory that held sway at that time, but that there seemed to be...
And nobody understood them either at that time. Fascia has taken a whole new meaning since 2012, 13, 14. And a lot of it's from the mud fossils, yes, absolutely. I understand this. I understand it very well from the research I did. All right, this is the pregnant lady stone over in Baalbek. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is one of those tendon fibrils. And you say, oh, no, Roger, come on. Oh, yes, Roger, it is. You see that? That's where the blood is coming out, where she was flipping it like this. They square off. This is synovial sheath that goes around it. You see, that's the colors of blood. I mean, I've looked at this. There's no question whatsoever. And they are stacked one right next to the other. And they exactly like the fibers of tendons. If you looked at all this stuff correctly, you'll see them all lined up in the background. They're all over the place. It's not just one sticking here and there. You see them all back in here? You really got to pay some attention to this. When you go, look, see them all over here? It's not just one. Now, it is what it is. I cannot account for the size of things. All I can tell you is the ancient texts, I would start to reconsider them again. All of them. If you're looking for truth and you're looking for reality, you really got to start over, to be perfectly honest with you. Mud fossils literally changed everything. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to say. But be respectful. Now, I know that I have been a very abrasive person. I'm sorry again. I do apologize. But I hope I have made an impression on you that this is serious. And it's seriouser than serious. It is what I might call serious. So I would pay close attention to this. However, that is your option. All right? It is, I think, very, very, very interesting at a minimum. All right? I love you all. God bless you. And keep your mind open. All right, remember 67P, it had all that little wrinkly looking stuff at the top, and then it had the tendon fibers coming down, and then it had that little bundle. Well, basically one of these bundles broke off here, and then it had the anchor spot at the bottom. That's as close as I can come to what it is. It's absolutely biological, and they know it. That's not a question. All right, that's taphany. And you're going to say, oh, Roger, how can it be that big? How can it be that gigantic? And I say, well, I don't know, maybe because Tyson's found membranes that are 6 feet thick, that are, in us, they're nanoscale. Yeah, that's all it is. It's interstitial. Taphany. All right, get your biology teachers and get your anatomy teachers and get your geology teachers and just ask them, just be respectful. I can handle being non-respectful because I had to do that. I didn't want to be that way, but they forced my hand to be a little bit disrespectful. Don't do that. That is not for you to do. That is for me to do. And because you need to be nice to people, I need to be aggressive, and I have done that. And now it's your turn to just present this. Just say, can you please explain to me what Roger's talking about here? It looks like it's a membrane, and look at this. I want to show you what a membrane is. That is a membrane, and these are what they call ion protein channels. They allow things in, and this is only one layer. 6 feet above this, there's another layer. This is Tyson's spot. Now, don't forget this. You see that? What's that thing doing right in the middle of all this other stuff? It looks kind of strange. Well, let's all see what else he's sent me. This is the split screen. There it is right there. Remember we saw that rock sticking up? That's when I said it's kind of strange. And then what is this? That also looks kind of strange. See this? Well, what is this? There it is right there. There it is right there. And these are on this layer, which is this layer. And 6 feet above, up in the back here, there's another layer just like that, which is this layer. 6 feet. These layers are about 8 to 10 inches, maybe a foot thick in areas. And you see all of the exact same biology, anatomy, and I can guarantee you the chemistry is correct too. The problem is that nobody will examine it, and when it's presented, it's so fought against that it's frustrating, and it made me be very, very nasty today. And I want to apologize to everybody. I was extremely nasty because I am being attacked by people that refuse to engage in. All they can do is say, this guy's crazy, he's stupid, he's an idiot, this is nonsense. And these are teachers. They don't say, well, this isn't right because. No. And they don't ask questions, not a single question. The only question is, well, you didn't have, you're going to have 6 people come on and prove this some other way. I've shown the DNA, I've shown every single thing that proves what I'm saying. Now it's up to you to speak to your teachers. All right? You listen to me? Speak to your teachers, but do it in a respectful way. Just say, you know, this is all over the place now, and we're wondering why he's saying this. Is he wrong? Just do it that way. Say, is this guy wrong? It looks to me like he's right. And then explain to them why you feel I'm right. Maybe just point it out and say at 5:02, you're going to see a membrane, you're going to see another membrane, but we need to confront these people, because otherwise we're not. I am shut down. I am very, very, very shut down. So I will never be able to get my message out. You guys are the ones that are going to have to do this, and I'm going to orient this towards people that are learning, because if you learn, you learn. Don't just take and remember what's told to you, because what's being told to you, I have to dispute, and I'm going to try to be a little more respectful, but I need to get this noticed, and the only way I found I could get it noticed was to be just as nasty as I could be, to make them return to nastiness. It makes everybody upset. It's when people won't respond to reality. Well, how do you handle that? When you say, look at this, and they say, that's not it. That has nothing to do with it. That's not, it doesn't matter about your DNA. It doesn't matter anatomist. The CAT scans don't matter. The specimens, we don't want to see anything. None of that stuff matters. And they are the ones that are teaching the kids for $30,000 a year, or more than that probably. I don't know how much they charge, but I think they should give the money back at this point. Unless they start to look, they're just not working in your best interest, and they are fiduciaries. Look it up. It says that they must work exclusively in your best interest, because they are trying to make you capable of making a living, to making money, and you are investing in them, and they are letting you down miserably and hiding from truth. And there's got to be accountability here. So I'm going to leave it up to you to pursue that. It's up to you. You're the ones that are being hurt. I'm not hurt anymore. I'm done. My life is just about over. But I want to know a lot more about life than just life, because I've seen it all. Trust me, I've seen it all. And some of it ain't pretty. All right, I love you, my friends. Good luck.